Are you successful in every area of your life, your career, your finances, your responsibilities, but when it comes to your health, when it comes to your body, you always feel like you're failing? So in this video, you will realize that the reason you're not seeing the results you want isn't in a pill, a shake, or a punishment. It's within you. Yeah. So if you follow the 8 laws that we're going to talk about, you'll start getting results immediately. But before I go into these 8 laws, I need to preface this because I feel like I've hit a new high in my spiritual journey. And I'll be honest, like I always had a negative relationship with church because I was forced as a child to go. But when I learned that church isn't a place, it's the people, that changed a lot for me. And then God started showing up more and pulling me back to the Bible through different life experiences and people. And when I finally listened, I started realizing how every spiritual lesson I've learned, every self-help book that I've read, everything always comes back to the Bible. And one of the things that's been awakening, I would say, something in me lately is the Beatitudes. And every single time I read those scriptures, something just opens up for me. And I've been like going to bed like just vibrating. I can't really explain it, but I realized that every single thing that I've learned can be applied here to fat loss, to health, to becoming the woman you're meant to be. And that's what we're going to be diving into today. I'm calling it the Beatitudes of fat loss, using Jesus's teachings. And by the way, you ain't got to be religious to love Jesus. So if you're not familiar with the Beatitudes, let me just break this down for you because it's very powerful. The Beatitudes are one of Jesus's most profound teachings. But what makes them different from everything else you've heard, they're not about what you need to do. They're about who you need to be. The attitudes of being. Be attitudes. So when it comes to fat loss, when it comes to health, when it comes to fitness, it's not always about the actions that you take. It's about who you are becoming. Because when you start focusing on becoming that person, everything else gets easier. You won't fight yourself anymore. You won't find it hard because you've become the person who naturally does those things. It's the be, do, have principle. You be the person, then you do the things so you can have the results. But most people will say that they want to lose 20 pounds, they want to lose 30 pounds, they want to stay consistent for more than 2 weeks. But why does that never happen? Because in order for you to have those things that you desire, you must do the things to have them. But in order for you to do those things, you must become the person that does it. That's why we focus on the being, the be, so you can do, and then in return, have. And that's exactly what the Beatitudes teach us, the most important part, and your very first step. How to be so that everything else falls into place. So the first Beatitude, blessed are the poor in spirit. When I first heard this, I didn't understand it immediately. I was like, what does that even mean? Poor in spirit. Are you saying that I gotta be depressed? But when I finally received the meaning, that changed everything for me because the root word of spirit here actually translates to pride. So what this really is saying is, blessed are the poor in pride. It means you're willing to empty yourself of everything you think is right. You're willing to admit that maybe you don't have it all figured out. And that can be very hard for us as women who have worked our asses off to be successful, who feel like we need to know the answers to absolutely everything. So here's how we're going to apply this to your fat loss journey. I hear so many women tell me, I know what to do. I know I need to work out. I know I need to eat healthier. But if you were to put your pride aside, you'll realize you actually have no idea what you should be doing. And I read this the other day. It said, to know, but to not take action, in fact, is to not know. You have no idea of the habits. Sure, eat more greens, go to the gym, but you're missing the structure that is applicable to your specific life, the actual plan to make those things sustainable for you. And I know that there's so much information out there on the internet, and it gets very overwhelming. It's so easy to get overwhelmed because you've heard this and you've heard that. And the way that your body was before, where you might have been able to or capable of doing certain things, is not where you are now. You have to allow yourself to unlearn and be open to someone coming in to guide you through this part. And the most successful people know this. They know the more they learn, the more you realize you don't know anything, right? Successful women are not afraid to say, I need help with this. What you've been holding onto your whole life when it comes to your body, your relationship with food, all that mental baggage, that's what's keeping you stuck. And until you let go of your pride and admit you need a different approach, nothing is going to change. So simply ask yourself, what are you willing to let go of? If all that means is that your life changes, are you willing to put your pride to the side? So the second beatitude is, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Learning that mourning isn't just sadness, it's a deep feeling that things are not right and a longing for something different changed my perspective. You have to get to the point where you are sick and tired of suffering. You have to mourn the fact that you can't be fully intimate with your partner because you feel uncomfortable in your skin. You have to hate the fact that you get out of breath walking up the stairs to your own house that's supposed to be your safe space, that you have a whole breakdown just trying to find an outfit and end up canceling your plans because of it. And the pain of that isn't meant to feel like a forever punishment or your normal. It's a sign, it's a signal from within you that you deserve more than this. Now you might hear me say this and be like, Krish, I am at that point. I am sick and tired. But are you really? Because I've had to ask myself that same exact question multiple times in my life, where I realize I end up saying, it could be worse. But why wait for it to get worse? Why wait until you're in the hospital? I've been in 2 near-death accidents. I've been hospitalized for dehydration and organ failure. And none of those events caused me to realize that I needed a change. You know what I did? The pandemic and the deep depression I got into. My clothes weren't fitting. I questioned if I still wanted to be here. But pulling myself out of that created Coach Krish, created the Queen's Community, created the Never Diet Again program that has helped hundreds of high-achieving women finally feel successful in the one place that they've been putting aside, their health and their fitness. Blessed are they that mourn. You need to get to the point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired. You shouldn't have to wait until you're in the hospital. You shouldn't have to wait until your kids are running around with you and you're literally struggling to breathe, or your doctor comes out with a look on his face that screams, something's wrong. Because I've seen it. And you do not want to wait until you have to do that in order for you to change your life. But some of us do, unfortunately, but fortunately, because you are rewarded afterwards, right? But until you get to that point of accepting that these are signs for you to change and not to keep holding on to what you're doing, nothing is going to change. Third beatitude is, blessed are the meek. Meekness isn't a weakness. It means surrendering to the guidance rather than trying to force things with your human aggression. It's about listening to your intuition. And when it comes to your health, you need to realize you can't control everything by yourself. A lot of you are learning how to use a calorie deficit, but a deficit is a huge stress on our bodies. And if you stay in a deficit for too long, your body will tell you. You'll start missing your period. You'll start feeling exhausted. You won't feel hungry anymore. And now you're barely eating and struggling to lose weight. But then you're still going to push through all that and ignore your body. When your body is telling you to stop, you think you should be powering through it. But this beatitude is telling you that wisdom doesn't always come from brute strength. It comes from listening, from surrendering your body, not being upset that she has cravings, but understanding those cravings and giving her what she needs. I'm not saying eat a whole cake. I'm not saying to never eat cake either. I'm saying, for example, eat a meal, nourish your body, and have the cake afterwards. We all know restrictions never work. And while some people are telling you to get rid of your cravings, God wants you to be in tune with your body. Number 4, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness. Righteousness here means right thinking. You might go into your fitness journey thinking you need to get to the point of wearing matching leggings, chugging pre-workout, wearing the nicest workout shoes, going to the gym with a full face of makeup, buying all organic, working out every single day, only eating clean, doing Pilates. You don't have to be another fitness cliche. This is your life. You're someone who has built up a career that takes over a good chunk of your time and energy. Like, let's paint a picture here. What usually happens? You go on another restrictive meal plan, you're good for 2 weeks, and then one day something happens at work, because something always happens at work. And now you're stressed and you're in the pantry devouring everything in sight because you've been ignoring your hunger from those past 2 weeks to stick to the plan. But now all that stress, you can't ignore anymore. So now you get upset with yourself. And then the next day you tell yourself you can't eat anything because you just binged. And then you go into that binge and restrict cycle. And then all of a sudden we hear all the negative self-talk and the self-pity that does not feel good. You're going to need to want more for yourself than those plans. If you keep telling yourself you're going to go back to that diet that worked, even though worked means you lost 20 pounds and then gained it back or even more, that thinking is not going to get you to the right thinking. Do you want sustainable results that you keep for a long time? Or do you want to keep living in the ups and downs? Because that's what your life is going to continue to look like. Personally, I don't want any more of that anymore in any aspect of my life. Because remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if this is happening here, imagine where else this is happening in your life. But next, blessed are the merciful. This is a law of consciousness. Kindness attracts kindness. What you put out comes back. So consciousness to me is being able to see the world like a movie. It's just scenes that are going by as you're seated down in a theater watching it. Things can happen. Things are good or bad, but you don't want to be locked in on one scene or else you'll miss what's to come next. So here's what we tend to do when we're not getting the results we want. We blame the scenes. Everything outside. Oh, it's the weather. It's the cold. It's too cold to go for a walk. It's too hot. I'm too tired. People will look at me at the gym. I'm a terrible cook. This happened today. It's the country. It runs in my family. Instead of locking in on something external, this is when you look within. That's where you need to start and return back to that seat. And when that changes, something like this happens. Cue the client interview.
Did you by any chance tell yourself a lie or lies about why you couldn't lose weight?
Genetics. Yeah, I was, before the pandemic, heavy into the fat acceptance crowd, where it was just like, you're fat because you're biologically fat and there's nothing you can do about it. So I was in denial for like, say, a good 2-3 years. Yeah.
And by the way, Queen Tay, she lost 40 pounds since she started working with us and has kept it off. She's now a dance instructor on top of her job as a marketing professional because she loves to move her body now, and she's way more confident. I used to be scared of working out, and I would live on the treadmills because I was scared to be judged by everyone that knows what they're doing at the gym. Come to find out, no one knows what they're doing, and no one goes to the gym to care about me anyways. Nobody. So please, please, please understand this, because the women that have gotten to these amazing places with their bodies are not superhuman. They just don't see as many problems as you do. You look at things as an issue rather than letting the scenes go by. You stay stuck on it and can't move beyond it. And that's the biggest reason why you're not seeing results. As long as you see something as a problem, you will have more problems. If you want freedom, if you want to take that first step and get results, you have to neutralize the mental problems you are creating. If you have no problems, there are no problems. And I get it. You're like, Coach, that's so simple. Why do you not want your life to be simple? You need to decide the kind of world you want to experience, because whatever you focus on, that will be the creation of your physical reality. Next is, blessed are the pure in heart. Now, to be pure in heart is to see clearly, is to see the good, to see God in everything. So you need to be able to look at your body and still love her. You might not be where you want to be right now, but you can't keep calling yourself ugly. Girl, you're gorgeous. I know for a fact you can remember a time maybe 3 years ago, maybe it was back in high school, where you thought that you were fat, that you looked terrible. And now you're looking back on those same photos and videos and you're like, I was fine. I wish I told myself something different. So you need to be telling yourself something different right now. If you looked at yourself through God's eyes, which is ultimately through your own eyes because God is within you, what would you see? You would see someone who has built her career, who's on top of the world, who is successful. You would see someone who is doing it, but not giving herself enough credit. You would see that, yes, you have things you want to strive for, that you want to be better, that you want to better yourself with, but you wouldn't be talking down to yourself for wanting that. Use your eyes as a channel of your inner power to realize that there is goodness everywhere, but also look within yourself. You shouldn't see half of you. You shouldn't see a small portion of you. You should be able to see all of you. And that's going to be the key to healing yourself, especially if you're a mother, if you're an auntie, if you're a wife, and you see others around you that you know you want to help. You won't be able to help them fully unless you see the light within yourself first. Look at yourself at the highest level, because the lower you bring yourself, the lower deep down you get, the darker it will feel and the harder it will be for you. And you've been there, you felt that. Which goes into our next beatitude, which is, blessed are the peacemakers. There's a part about this beatitude that says when the light is turned off, to still radiate. to still be that light. I work with women who have jobs that have them eating at their desk because they're overworked, RNs that do night shifts, engineers, product managers, marketing professionals, the breadwinners of the family, moms who have kids that rely on them. And a lot of times when you're going through your fitness journey, something happens in life. Even the smallest inconvenience, all of a sudden we completely stop. We say, this is causing me issues, so I can't meal prep. I can't go to the gym. So let's talk about that 100% all in or nothing attitude. This beatitude helps with that. So instead of turning off that light, we can just focus on dimming this, because we'll still be able to have some aspect of light before we're able to completely return to the full brightness again. And this is something that we teach all of our clients, like, what are your intentions when it comes to low dial weeks or days? What system can we still uphold without completely turning your light off? Because as a child of God, you must act like one at all times, okay? Our last beatitude. Blessed are they who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. This is a beautiful beatitude. This is the one that I feel like every single self-help book covers, because it's not talking about someone else persecuting you. This is talking about your own mind. Because I don't know if you've heard this, but with intention, disruption always follows. Meaning you could be so ready for change, so ready to do something different, but someone or something always seems to get in the way. But the great part is that when you overcome that disruption, the reward is beautiful, especially if the disruption is massive. But disruption, a lot of the time, is your own mind. Because think about it like this. When you're getting out of your comfort zone, what does your mind do? It tells you, oh, this is scary. It tells you to go back to what you were doing because that is what's comfortable. Even though you're not happy with what's been comfortable all these years. You have all these experiences you've dealt with throughout your life, and your mind has kept all those experiences and created the reality you're living right now. So in order for you to go beyond that reality, you have to do something different. But unfortunately, that different is scary, especially to your mind. Your mind is going to remind you that you don't want to step into a place you don't understand. That's uncertain, but going through that uncertainty is what's going to get you the results that you've been wanting. You have an analytical mind. You've gone yourself very far, but don't let that analytical mind stop you from changing your life. And also, when you decide that you no longer want to go through those diets, your mind is going to bring you back and say, hey, but you should go back to it. Go back to doing keto. It worked for a little bit. You should go back to doing intermittent fasting. Like, I had to ask myself, if those things really did work in the past, why am I still at the same place or even worse? So when the doubt comes in, say, thank you for trying to protect me, but we are doing it differently this time. It's only scary because I haven't experienced this yet, and I am excited to see what is on the other side. Because my friend, you have been managing your weight like a crisis when your journey should feel like a blessing. The Beatitudes remind us that the power to change isn't a pill, a shake, or punishment. It's within you. When you stop fighting and start applying these attitudes of being, fat loss, it's automatic. So being poor in pride, being willing to mourn what's not working, being meek enough to surrender, being hungry for right thinking, being merciful to yourself, being pure in heart, being a peacemaker in chaos, or being brave through the persecution of your own mind. Changing your mind, what's happening inside, automatically changes what's out here. And you don't have to do this alone, by the way. In fact, admitting you need a guide, that is the first beatitude. So if you're ready to take that step, check out my caption for how we can connect. But until then, let me know what stood out to you the most, what connected with you the most, what you're going to be focusing on, and I'll see you in the next video.